All right. Hey, everyone. I am here with Jen Arizmendi. Hey, Jen.
Hi, Jen. How are you?
Great. You have such an awesome name.
Yeah, you too.
So, Jen is a realtor in Indiana, and you focus mainly on investors. So, I thought it would be cool to just hear a little bit about your background and then how we as agents can work with different types of investors and kind of like what your tips are. Do you
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
tell us?
My background is mostly in investment real estate. I started about 12 years ago, and I got into the business as actually as a broker's assistant at first. For about a year, I worked under a foreclosure real estate agent.
Okay.
So I learned a whole lot about what foreclosure looks like, and in turn, I was able to work with a lot of investors.
Yeah.
So after
That
about
makes
a
sense
year,
because like a lot of the foreclosures were, I mean, they were given to like cash buyers who were generally investors and fixing and flipping and things like
right,
that. Yeah.
exactly. So part of that is because of the time I got in, the timing, it worked out best for me to be in investment because it's right when things started to go crazy.
Had you invested in real estate at all prior to that? Did you have any idea what you were doing? That's awesome.
No idea what I was doing. I didn't know anything about real estate really. I mean, I had bought a house, but it was regular, a regular broker in a regular office who
Right.
was used to working with regular, first-time home buyers.
Yeah, that's
So definitely very different when you get into investment versus regular real estate.
Tell us about like what you think as agents, like if we're used to being traditional like residential agents, working with an investor is a lot different. So tell us a little bit about like not only like working with an investor in general, but like the different types. Like if you have a landlord versus like a wholesaler versus like a flipper, like
Right.
what do we know?
Yeah, I think so. One of the things that I think is misconception is that if you work with investors, they're going to be fighting over the same properties all the time. And, how are you ever going to make any money? Because it's the same investor looking for the same property. And that's just not true.
Right.
Some of my investors want only fix and flip properties where they're going to buy and fix it and resell. Some of my investors only want, buy and hold properties where they're going to be a landlord and they're going to rent for the next 10, 15, 20 years. Some of my people want to be able to buy and then resell in their own area. So there's a little bit of a wholesaling factor going on there as well. So there's just a lot of different types, and just looking for and catering to whatever your investors' goals are is really important, and knowing whether they need to make a certain percentage on a deal or whether they're looking for a certain cash flow per month. All of that kind of gets factored into when you're looking for property for them.
Do you have to be good at math to work with an investor?
No. No, but I will say what you probably do need to know is you need to align yourself with people like contractors, so you can walk into a property and if you see something, you can have a relatively good idea of what that's going to cost to have it fixed.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. And I think like after you walk through a property with like a contractor, a few times or whatever, you'll start to learn to be able to guess so that then the investor client can make a decision and then also double check, right? Like, because there's no contractor that's going to walk through like every property with you. You're going to have to make some decisions and just guess.
Exactly. Yeah, educated guess, I guess.
Exactly. Do you use like specific forms that you'd be willing to share to help kind of analyze these or check properties? Girl.
So I don't know. So at this point, I can usually obviously knowing your market is important. So you need to know what ARV is. So after repair value is super important. So that you kind of can do the quick math in your head. If you're purchasing for $40,000, you know that the property's worth $135 after it's flipped. You have all of this money to work with, and then you still have to be able to make a profit for your person at the end. So you kind of need to be able to quickly, I use really round numbers. It just makes life easier for everybody.
Right.
And come up with a quick big picture and say, this is what I think this is going to be worth. This is probably about what you can get for it. This is what you can make off of it.
Right.
All of those things. And obviously I can't see through walls, and I'm not a home inspector and don't pretend to be.
Right.
So, I can only point out what I can see, although a lot of these are cash purchases that need to be made quickly. So you need to make a quick decision. You can't sit on it for very long or it's going to be gone.
Well, and a lot of times you can get them like a 1 day, walk through and,
Yes.
if they don't
If
want
I'm
it.
really serious, sometimes I take their contractor with me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I say, let's just kill two birds with one stone, get in there together, see what we can come up with.
Yeah. But let's go back through the formula. So if you have a flip and fixer that, let's say, wants to make $15,000 on the property, and let's use easy numbers. So let's say after repair value is like 100,000, which we know is not ever going to happen, but whatever, right? It's 100,000. So you start there, and then you subtract out the purchase price, you subtract out the estimated repairs, you subtract out their profit, and you subtract out their holding costs. Because if it's going to take a month, if it's going to, and also like if they're going to resell it, you're going to add in commission and things like that. I think like as agents, we can do that math pretty easily when you have the formula.
Right. I think one of the only things that sometimes you forget about is that as agents, sometimes we think if you're making $10,000, that's a pretty good day for us. That's what we're thinking in your head. But for some of these investors that are full-time and they put in 6 months into this project, that's not enough.
Right.
So they need to make a certain dollar amount. So it's not what I feel comfortable with, it's what they feel comfortable with.
Exactly. So that's like asking questions and finding out what is it that they're really looking for.
Exactly.
Are they looking for a specific return? How much or what percentage? I actually am thinking now, I do have a spreadsheet that I can give everybody because I'm a landlord. So I do like a different type than fix and flip, but I'll put it in our vault. So it's jennifermerlin.com/vault, and people can access that and change it and do whatever they want. Do you think that, what's the reality of working with an investor? I mean, how many offers are you putting in before they get one? Like, what are some of the things that maybe regular residential real estate agents don't realize?
Right. So I think for me, it's always been quantity over quality is sort of like our tagline.
Yeah.
We're putting in a lot of offers.
Mm-hmm.
We're not getting a lot, and that's okay. I mean, I did have an investor who used to tell me, Jen, if you're not uncomfortable submitting this for me, this isn't low enough. So, sometimes it's mostly not list price. You're really negotiating. You have to put your negotiating hat on. This isn't something where you submit every offer and you get it.
Right.
So you have to fight a little bit for your people, and you have to know the reasons why you need to fight for them, and why this property should be sold at this price, kind of thing. But investors, I love it because it's less emotion. A lot of it is about numbers. Right. So I'm not getting first-time home buyers crying because they're not getting a property. It's just on to the next.
Right.
So that part of it for me is really why I do this. But I will say that it's not that I'm not an emotional person. I just really like at the end seeing a finished product and being able to, give a first-time home buyer or a second-time home buyer or someone this beautiful project that I know that my clients worked really hard on.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a full picture kind of thing. I see how it looks in the beginning, and most people don't even want to walk through it.
No, it's like nasty.
Yeah, exactly. And then I see how beautiful it is at the end, and how I get a sense of pride for my investors about how great of a job they've done. So it's really rewarding in that respect.
So what is like the nastiest house you've ever seen?
Well, we always joke, and I follow you on your podcast and stuff, and I know you talked about what you wear and that kind of stuff. Like, I can't wear flip-flops because I'm stepping up the ice. I mean, it's really like that. So, I'm a jeans girl and boots, and South Bend, Indiana has harsh winters, so it gets really cold here, like it does there. So it's not all frill and fun and pretty all the time. Most of the time, it's not that.
Oh my gosh, there was one time that because I'm an investor agent too, as you
Right.
probably know.
I know.
And I like walked into a house and literally the entire floor moved. And it's because it was covered in roaches.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, what is that? Like, I mean, of course I've seen roaches, but
Sure.
it was covered. Like
It's like a
I
horror
thought it
movie.
was the floor, like that, right?
Oh my
And I
God.
walked and then I like looked and it moved and I was like, no, 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 no. And I like backed out and I was like, once you exterminate, I will come back. But
Right.
until then, there is nothing we can do with this house. Like,
Right.
I'm not even going to come anywhere near this house. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can't tell you how many houses I've had to run out of. There's been quite a few. Animals are not my thing. Yeah, it's.
What about people?
Oh my gosh. So I have had some squatters in some property. That's always interesting when you're trying to show a property.
Dangerous.
Very dangerous. We walked in, we saw them, we turned around and walked right out.
Oh my God.
Locked the door, called the agent, just so you know someone's in your house.
Right.
Right. I could probably write a book. I have quite a bit of like crazy stories, as I'm sure every agent has. But.
Yeah, exactly. I'll connect you up with Sam Staskell. Do you know her? She was the agent that was in Minnesota that like was on a showing and she fell and her dress came up over. Do you remember seeing that video?
I do.
So
I do.
she's hilarious. So she has a YouTube like podcast of funny things that happen in real estate. I'll connect you guys and you can read on
please
that
do.
podcast. You know?
I need that in my life.
All right. Well, I really appreciate you being on, Jen. If people have questions about working with investors or they have a referral for you in Indiana, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Probably just call or text my cell phone. It's 574-315-0119.
Awesome. Thanks for being on. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you so much. I appreciate it.